All right, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by another live episode of Real Estate Titans, sponsored by Lion Bolt Media. I'm your host, Greg Fowler, traveling throughout the marketplace, interviewing the top professionals in our field, essentially gathering insight, inspiration, really drives and motivates these top producers above and beyond everybody else in what I'd like to consider a real estate titan. Now, our very special guest and featured titan for today, I'm super excited about this one, Chris Prefontaine from beautiful Rhode Island. Chris, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thanks, buddy. I think you said beautiful Rhode Island because you're migrating this way. I don't know too many people who have said beautiful Rhode Island, but it's okay. Thank you.
It's beautiful, Chris. Come on, you're right there on the water. Everything's just the people. For me, it's the people. It's the atmosphere. I love everything about the East Coast, New England for sure. But Chris, I really am excited to dive in. Just get everybody out there in the Titan Nation to get to know you as a man, a professional, and really just understand what makes you tick and everything that you've learned along the way within reason. So I guess without further ado, let's just jump into the first question, which is introducing yourself, Chris, who you are, where you're from, what got you into the business, and then really getting to where you built to today. What's your story?
Yeah, so I'll sort of do 10,000 foot view because this past September was 30 years and we would be here. We'd put him to sleep, but I'll give you the high points anyway. So I've been at this since 91. That's where I got that date.
Wow.
And I've touched, the brokerage niche where I had to put my broker hat on. I've touched building homes. I didn't know anything about those niches before that. But all this led, Greg, to the crash eventually, right? I sold my company in 2000 to Coldwell Bank and my brokerage company. And then wasn't a big deal, but as an agent, it's a big deal because it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And then we did our own deals, and that led to the crash. And the reason I'm fast forwarding to there is, despite being a broker for 18 years, despite being in all those niches, we got to the point where the market tanked. Some of our projects went down by 2/3, like literally you couldn't give it away for 2/3 overnight, like in a week's time. So it took a while to dig out of that. It took from February of 08 till about 12, literally 4 years, February of 08 to February of 12. What became of that, though, is me saying I was brain dead, financially beat up. People, for 4 years chased me. So what I said was, okay, if we're gonna do this after all these years, my wife is encouraging me to obviously stay in real estate. Then what's it look like? What's the box we're gonna operate in, so to speak?
Sure.
And we define that, and what that is, and it lives today. And I'm in business today with my son-in-law and a great team. But what that is we don't, because of what happened in the crash, we don't sign personally on bank loans. We don't borrow money. We buy everything on lease purchase, owner financing, or sub-2, subject to the existing financing. So just picture how this is different. Pre-08, go to sleep at night, sign personally, because when I had good credit when I was younger, I thought, okay, that's the thing to do. Now we don't, and we control $80+ million in real estate at any one time between us and our students. And I go to sleep at night thinking, all right, I'm not on any loan whatsoever on the planet except for my own house. That's a different mentality. It's a different mindset. It's a different stress level. So fast forward, we still buy and sell in the trenches, like I just described with those three methods, but we also teach people around the country and a little bit in Canada to do the exact same thing. And so we're just in the trenches, then showing people how to do it. So it's live learning. Now, as well as I do, after COVID, things change and things change constantly, and you got to be in the trenches. So I'll kind of stop there. And if you want to go back to the piece of that, I'm an open book. I'm happy to share.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, your insight and information to that pathway, mentioning it back into 08 and then really pivoting and repositioning. I love your wife, by the way, for encouraging you to stick with it. What a wonderful woman and support into that. So I'm so glad.
35 years. Something's got to be right there.
That's super great. I mean, if you look at it from that standpoint, Chris, everything that you've been through and every, decision that you've made, good, bad, or indifferent, has made you the man that you are today and touching so many lives and impacting so many people in the real estate world and community. I do want to rewind on that a little bit. What was I guess back in 91, right? What was the initial thought? Why get involved in real estate at all? And then why shift into the investing side and creative investing into that? So I guess two parts to that question.
Yeah, no, good question. So this is not in any shape, form, or fashion political because it wasn't an issue. But in the 80s, we got married in 86. Okay, now I'm really dating myself.
This is great.
So I remember staying up in the wee hours reading real estate books. One of them was Trump's. I think it was his first one way back then, out of the deal, whatever it was. So again, nothing to do with politics. I could care less what my opinion is on that. That's just what got me in. Then anything to do with real estate, I tended to pick up. Then
Hmm.
I grew up in a welding business, not real estate, but my father would build his building. So he'd contract to build a building, and then he would lease it back to his company. And when I was young, I was saying, what do you mean? It's you. Like, how do you lease back your building? So I didn't get that whole thing. Now I do.
Okay.
But I learned that back then. I also learned he'd go find parcels of land, and he was busy with his welding business, but he'd find parcels of land, subdivide them, and spin them off. And I got to see him do that. So I was around some of that in a very peripheral sense. So that's what got me into real estate. And when he sold his company in 91, I was too young to have anything to do with that, but I went off my own. I found a builder locally that I had been doing work for as a side landscape business. And he said, hey, I'll put up the homes if you can find the land. And we partnered up for several years and did that. That was before my brokerage company hit the scene.
Unreal. Okay. And I love that. So a part of it is in your blood in a way. I mean, you were born around it and the thought process that way, but in your periphery, whether you really identified with it directly or not. But I just love to hear that background into why and what's going on. So when you went through the process of your brokerage and then, selling that off and going down, what was the real tipping point to go heavy into investing into real estate? What does that look like? Where were you at in your head, in your life there?
I'm trying to think. It was drastically two-tiered, meaning, okay, so we sold a brokerage company in 2000. And again, it wasn't a windfall, but at my age, it was good. And it gave me some breathing room. Sure. So then I started thinking, what do I want to do? And that was the first foray into it. My wife, Kim, started doing some, what we call raise the roof. We would take a ranch and make it a 2-story. Cool. You're moving this way. So you'd appreciate. So the Boston Globe did an article on her, and she wasn't even, full-time in my business. Yeah. So we did that. We did some condominium rehabs at the time. Those were the thing, our conversions rather, 4, 6, 10 unit, buy it, convert them to units, condominiumize it and sell them off. So I don't know. It was just, I had a little breathing room. I could think about it. Yeah. But then that did a reversal on me, meaning, and when the '08 crash happened, I had a mountain of debt behind me. And I'm sure the listeners, or some of them, unfortunately, could relate to this. Yeah. You can't make decisions clearly when you have a mountain of debt behind you. You just can't. I didn't know it then, but in hindsight, you can't. Yeah. And so that caused me to, after I dug out, to say, I will never go back there again. So we moved, this will be interesting for you. So we moved from the water, 2 acres overlooking Newport Harbor, which is hard to find, to a one bedroom apartment. Wow. Unreal. And I did that for 6 years to get my feet back on the ground. And it was the best thing we ever did. Wow. That's a drastic change. Yeah. I mean, but that's, Chris, you're really talking about, the real life and how these things happen. And a lot of times we can make our decisions and put ourselves in a certain place, but we really can't have always full interaction as to what's going to happen based off our decisions. But you can really say, all right, instead of why me, try me. Right. And you did that. And you said, okay, this is our situation. 6 years, do what we need to do. And, again, the rest is history. Because from that point, I mean, Chris, not only have you been able to really make things happen in a big way for you and your family and your community, but for so many others across the United States. So I want to talk about that aspect, because I think that's crucially important for everybody to tune in. You're not just a practitioner at heart and doing this in the trenches, as you say, but you're also teaching people. And you and I both know this. There's so many people out there. They're theoretical. But they're not really in it. They really don't know. You do. So you're being nice. Yes.
Well, that's the truth. I mean, look at 30 years in the biz. I mean, it's hard not to know what's going on and all the investments that you mentioned between you and your students and everything that's going on. So let's talk about that. When did you say, all right, I want to share this with others. I want to help others just the same way that I was able to help myself and my family.
First of all, I want to backtrack one thing you said. I said, hey, 6 years, let's start over. The reason I chuckle a little bit when you said that is my wife said to me, my wife said, we're going to do this. And I said, all right, I'll do it for 6 months. Cause my ego said, I can't do this. 6 months. I said, it took 6 years. Okay.
Man.
As far as, I think you were going with that one. Sorry, I jumped backwards.
No, you're good. You're good. So what got you
to 2000 and what point?
Yeah. What got you into really saying, all right, I want to share this knowledge. I want to share this and grow, others.
I was at a crossroads in 2000 and I think it was 14.
Okay.
And the crossroads was, I love teaching, speaking, coaching. I had done that in some other avenues. Wow. Yeah. And so my brain was, I'm going to go into commercial and syndication, or I'm going to coach. It was that close. Okay. And I spoke to Dave and some other people I know. Dave's in Boston. And I was that close, but in hindsight, I didn't want to go raise money. I didn't want to go do that again. I went through the crash and I said, I'll never do that again. So around that time, I follow energy, right? And around that time, there was a war college here in Newport.
Okay.
And a gentleman was going back to civilian life. He had heard about me just locally. He said, look, he called. He said, I'm heading back to Oregon. I'm going back to civilian life. I've had 3 tours in Afghanistan, which I love to support. So I said, what's up? He said, I want to kind of tutor under you. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do real estate. So he was the first person that ever wrote a check, and it was dismally small, but it got my blood going again of what I can do and who I can help. And then it grew from there. We wrote a little ebook, a pathetic ebook, but it was an ebook on sandwich leases. It got out to a database. We got 300 people that opted in, and the rest kind of just grew. I don't want to say the rest is history, but the rest just grew organically. We now have around 15 team members and plus some subs, and we have about 150 or so what we call associates doing deals that we do deals with them.
Wow.
But you alluded to something really important, Greg. You said something about just the experience. When I said you were nice, I meant you were very conservative with how you explain them, because there's so many people out there that don't do what you and I do. They're not in the trenches, but yet they're great marketers and they're teaching it. I mean, some people even told me this on my show. No, I don't care about that. I just market product. Well, that's great. But what happens after that? They don't know what to do because there's no interaction. It's crazy. So I'm glad that you said that, because it's a big difference, especially with all the changes that market has gone through. You got to make sure you're aligned with people that are in the trenches. It's very simple.
Yeah, I think that you said that just right, Chris. And there's so many people that are tuning in, every single day. And I like to think that the audience is a group of utmost professionals, and they can really see through it. They can see the truth and the intention behind somebody. And really, it's all about guilty by association. We want to surround ourselves with better, smarter people that can help us grow. And in turn, we want to be able to return that favor. So I think that, again, looking at it from a wealth building standpoint and the future success and growth of your life and your family, you got to look at these things. And there's so many real estate professionals that are tuning in now that say, yeah, I know I need to start investing. I need to start going this way. Maybe they don't know where to go. Maybe they don't have enough information. And that's why I love the fact that you're just able and willing to step on the show and share a little bit of advice and information that way, Chris. So what I would like to do is go into kind of another segment or section here, because you've got so much information to give and you've helped so many people grow. So you can look at it from a multitude of perspectives, Chris, but I guess the thought would be, if you could look back at your career and pinpoint a few things that you added or adjusted, that you really saw growth, you saw movement in the needle to success. It could be directed towards you or through students that you've helped build wealth. Anything along those lines. What advice would you give to the audience if they're looking?
2 or 3 things come to mind. So one is not technical. And so I'm going to apologize ahead of time if someone thinks it's fluffy, and that is the mindset piece.
Yep.
I was just talking with some of my higher end students last Thursday on a mastermind. And I said, look, in hindsight, when I came out of the crash, I was beat up mentally. I couldn't think big enough. I just got my own way. So I said, in hindsight, if I could think bigger back then, this 8.5-year trek that we've been on, that's been amazing, would have been even quicker. It would have been shorter, perhaps. So I think the mindset piece, but you alluded to one of the ways to get around that, and that is get around the right people. Make like no mistake about it. Who you hang out with is going to affect how you operate next year and for the next decade.
100%.
So one is the mindset piece. More important than, even though I used to read it, listen to it doesn't matter. It's more important than you think.
Sure.
Second is more technical. We trademarked this. So for years, we get paid. You and I get paid. You do a deal, you get paid. I have no complaints about that. We did very well, except for the crash.
Sure.
But we trademarked a 3 payday system because when I came out of the crash, I went, well, okay. Like every January I'd go, man, I got to go do that again to get that kind of income. Like I got to repeat. It's almost like, transactional, right?
Yeah. So
the 3 payday system pays you now. It's like the ultimate entrepreneurial model. Forget real estate for a second. It pays you now when you do the deal, it pays you monthly, and then it pays you back end. So you kind of take care of the buy and the hold, the flip. You take care of all of it in one niche. So we do that. That was a major game changer.
Okay.
The third thing I guess would be this. I know you didn't ask for 3, but these came to mind right away.
I love it as much as you give us.
I'm not, like you said earlier, we like to share, you and I. I'm not so naive to think our niche is for everyone. I'm biased because I love it, but I'm not so naive. So I'm big on free. And so if you're out there listening and you say, all right, well, what would it be for me next year and for a decade? Because you can create a decade of income in the next 2 or 3 years if you want to. You really can. And you can chill out. So here's like a 3-step thing for you. One, pick a niche that you can get behind. I don't care what niche is. If it's for us, fantastic. I look forward to talking to you. If it's not, it's okay. There's a lot of very lucrative niches in the industry.
Sure.
Secondly, and that might be with your value system. You like helping people, you want to do deals, whatever it is. The second piece is find someone in that niche. This is not like brain science. It's been done. So find someone in the niche that you can relate to in a lot of levels, personally, family, health. Like you just go, that's kind of where I want to be.
Yeah.
And then here's a tough part. Put the blinders on for at least 36 months before you even think about another shiny object, because the good news is the bad news in real estate. There are a bunch of cool things, but they're shiny objects. Oh, this didn't work in 60 days. I'll go try that one. I saw someone. No. 3 years. It's not going to take you 3 years to do a deal, as Greg and I know, right?
Yep.
But if you say to me or anyone, I'll commit for 3 years, when you get the first speed bump, because you're going to have many, it's life. You won't go, oh, this stinks. I'm not going to, this doesn't work. No, you go, I got 3 years. I'm going to learn. I'm going to work my way through it. So I know that was a long answer to a very good question, but those are my things I would kind of take off.
Chris, you nailed it. And again, I know we're just scratching the surface of your ability to really shed those pieces of information, actionable items into that. And I think that that applies to everyone who's listening. Doesn't matter where you're at in your life, where you're at in your career, where you at in your current situation financially, there's always room for improvement. And, the key indicators, as you mentioned, being a part of the Guilty by Association club, that is positive or negative. And I think that the mindset, I don't think that was a fluffy answer at all, just so you know. And I know some people say, oh, motivation mindset. Oh yeah, it's overrated. It's not. To your point, if you're not in the right mindset, if you can't allow yourself to think big enough, then you're only putting those barriers up on yourself. And those are the restrictions that we have in life. And that's true. That's not fluff or filler. That's the reality. And identifying really where you're putting your time and focus is something that really jumped out to me as you mentioned that, Chris. What we focus on is what we become. What we focus on is what grows. And so I think in the real estate industry, that the shiny object or squirrel syndrome is a real thing. I mean, no one can argue with that. So I think identifying key performing indicators that are really going to move the needle and just get to work. I love that you said, put the blinders on. And Rome wasn't built in a day. Think about anything that you've accomplished in your life. It wasn't just instant. Anything of value, it just takes time to build that up. Your relationships, your sphere, your reputation, any amount of wealth going through. There's ways to accelerate. There's ways to cut learning curves. You don't have to fall over or burn yourself to know that that's not the right way to go if somebody else has done that before you. And that's why I'm a firm believer of learning from professionals like you, Chris, learning from people who are true practitioners, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and have multiple examples of what's going on so that you can fit into that niche that works for you. And if not, that's okay too. We're not just talking about this because there's lots to go through. Right. But you hit it. You killed it. I absolutely love your responses to that, Chris. But I do want to give you a monster shout out. I know you're crazy busy going on. There's just so many things going on with the business and world, but you have an event coming up on January 8th. And I would love for you to share that with the audience if something really stuck out to them and they want to learn more from you.
No, I appreciate it, because what we just talked about, Greg, this is very this fits in perfect. Here's why. You and I can teach someone to go do a deal tomorrow. Like literally, I could teach every single person. I can say, this is how you do the deal. But the mindset piece, the skill set piece, and the systems piece are what we call the 3 pillars of our genius model. And we cater our events around one or some or all 3 of those. Okay. The January event is called Wicked Smart Kickstart. We are from New England.
Love that.
And it's at wickedsmartkickstart.com. But the point is that's more, it's the beginning of the year, it's January 8th. Okay. So that's more on the mindset pillar. We always mix in deals because we get people say, I want to see more deals, but it's mainly mindset. I don't know if you've seen the documentary on Chris Norton, who was paralyzed in a football game.
I have not.
Chris is going to speak at it. He's an amazing individual. He was on my podcast. He will have you smiling, laughing, crying. It's just an amazing story what this guy's gone through. So you can tell that's where that event's going, mindset. Okay. My partner, our new partner, Peter Totten, built the largest fitness brand in the world. He's speaking. He's worth tens of thousands to even get to speak, and you get him. So we have quite the lineup. I promise you this: if you decide to go, it's not crazy. It's a few $100. It's not crazy money wise. I don't care about that. I promise you, when you leave the event, you'll feel like it was time extremely well spent. It's a day and it's virtual. So there's no, like, you can stay in your socks or whatever you want to wear, and as long as you're below the screen, and you can come hang out with us for a day.
I love that. I love it. And again, 1 day virtual event, January 8th, and we'll have links in the show notes in the comments below. But
Sweet,
so that was,
that.
So that was smartrealestatecoach.com/academy, or was that a different one? Chris,
that's just our academy we have. It teaches what you and I are talking about.
Okay.
But because I said earlier, I'm big on free, like, go to YouTube. We have 150 deals sitting on YouTube. We expose the good, the bad, the ugly. Like, we just tell you how the 3 paydays work and tell you where we messed up or where we won. So yeah, you can do that. And sure, if you want to go check out the academy, fine. But know that, go through that 3-step process first and say, oh, this is cool. I like this. I want to hang out with them.
Okay. I love that. And we're going to have links. I can't encourage everybody enough to dive in and really connect with Chris and the team and learn from one of the best and brightest. Before we wrap everything up though, Chris, from a fellow podcaster to another. And I mean, your show, it has me in awe because you and I both understand the amount of time and effort it takes, not just during, but before and after, to really just provide the value and knowledge and over periods of time. You're host very directly of Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. And last I checked, and I confirmed it with you, 327 episodes. That's insane.
That gets me tired just you saying that.
It's a lot. I mean, I'm thinking, Titans has been running for, it's been 3.5 years or something, and we're only at 246. So
that's a lot.
You being at 300 plus, that's incredible. So could you please share with the audience your show, what it's about, when it usually airs, and kind of the general premise? I would love that.
Yeah, generally speaking, it is about not just our niche on purpose. Like, I don't want it to be all about terms. Yes, you hear me speaking a lot, so you're going to get some of that. So you're going to hear guests from different niches. You're going to hear guests that I feel that the content aligns with that genius model, skill set, systems, and mindset. Perfect. So like, we've had Dr. Joe Vitale, we've had Dennis, forget it. I'll skip that. But a lot of big names. Go to the show and take a peek. Love it. You're gonna love it. So you have solo casts from me. So you were asking me questions today. Other times I'll just go on a rant about something. It's literally might be something I want to talk about because the year ends here or whatever it might be. So yeah, lots of cool stuff on there. Love it. If you can go to smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com. And Greg, thank you for that, for the shout out. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. I can't encourage everybody enough to subscribe to this man's show, listen to the show. It's incredible in and of itself, just that you have so many professionals and perspectives that are aligned in those pillars, and really just pieces of information that you're giving, that you're just sharing. And that's what blows me away, Chris, is, there's so much information out there. There's so many podcasts and YouTube videos and tutorials and mini courses, master courses. There's really no excuse. If you want success, if you want to hit things and change your life and the people around you, you've got resources upon resources upon resources. I posted up a meme today. I just thought it was really interesting kind of timing. It says, if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. And that's the truth. I mean, look, Chris is here. There's no excuse. If you want to learn more, if you want to change, he's right here. Links are going to be in there. You're going to be able to connect with him. You got a day, on January 8th. I think it's important for everybody out there just to know. And Chris, I can't thank you enough for sharing your knowledge and just scratching the surface of what we can learn for you. It's incredible, you and the team and everything that's going on. So I can't wait for our next conversation in the future. But for now, Chris, I just can't thank you enough for taking the time.
No, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. You do an awesome job, and kudos to you for your show. And yeah, you're in good hands. The listeners of the Titans. You're in good hands.
Gosh, you're one of, and I do have to dub that in, Chris. You are an official real estate Titan. That is a badge of honor you can wear for life. No one can take it away. It's in your heart. So that is yours forever, my friend. But yeah, thank you. And everybody out there, thank you as always for your time and attention, your love and support. As always, if you like what we're doing with Real Estate Titans, don't forget to like, subscribe, you know what to do at this point. I do have to give our sponsor a quick shout out, Lion Bolt Media. If you are in residential real estate and you're looking to grow and scale your digital business, generate massive amounts of local market expansion and saturation, lead generation and conversion, visit lineboltmedia.com. They have a free mini course. We are live on Real Estate Titans every Tuesday afternoon, a different Titan, a different location. Catch everybody in the next live episode of Real Estate Titans. Take care. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.